It's Tuesday in Simpsonville, South Carolina, and we're continuing a series of questions that my church member asked me in Florida when I gave them an opportunity to ask something that they'd always wanted to ask but never got a chance to. And so we want to continue that series today. And the question is, are cards, or the playing of cards, sin? And before I answer that question, let me say to you, would you agree that honesty is the best policy? Let me ask you again, is honesty the best policy? And if you answered yes, then you've probably tried both ways. Sorry. Is playing cards sin? Well, it depends what you do with the cards. Let's take a look at the history of cards. As far as we can tell, cards go all the way back to 300 to 400 years before Christ. Probably the origin is India or China. There's two legends, and they're legends, they're not historical facts, about the beginning of playing of cards. One legend is that the ladies in the harems were bored and developed card games. The second one is that a fretful wife of an Indian Maharaj was bored and developed card games to play with some of the servants there. It doesn't really matter what the origin was. And cards probably in many cases were not like the cards we have today. Some were even round. It spread to Europe in about 1200. And the dark side of cards, of course, is that Indian gypsies started using them for gaming, that is gambling, and fortune telling. In France, poker became very popular, and unfortunately along with the poker and the gambling came the cheating, and so they didn't have a good reputation in the early days in France. The harmless side of cards are there's games that go way back, like Old Maid, Go Fish, Uno, Canasta, and Bridge, which don't have to be gambled with and can still have a good time playing them. It's likely that cards came to America in 1492 with the sailors that discovered much of America. Now, the claims about the origin of cards and some of the arguments against cards go back to the fact that many times tarot cards were used to do fortune telling and things that were ungodly. However, a tarot card deck is considerably different than the card decks we use today, and the only similarity is that they were cards. 52 cards, some say that represents 52 weeks in a year, 4 suits, 4 seasons, 13 cards to a suit, 13 months in the lunar year, 12 court cards, signs back to the zodiac, which again we want to stay away from zodiac as far as fortune telling or that type of use of cards. The suits, the nobles, spades representing swords, the clergy, the hearts, the merchants represented by diamonds, and the peasants by clubs. Those are all if you will, symbolism that has been attributed to the cards. Picture cards, the king, the queen, and the jack representing princes, card numbers 1 through 9, just numbers. No direct reference in the scriptures to cards. None. However, there are lots of scriptures that talk about divination or fortune telling. Leviticus 19:26, Acts 16:16, soothsaying, Jeremiah 27:9, fortune telling, Micah 5:12, witchcraft, 2 Chronicles 33:6, Deuteronomy 18:10, Galatians 5:20, mediums or sorcerers, Revelation 9:21 and Leviticus 19:31, enchantments, Exodus 7:11, spiritualist, Leviticus 20:27, cheating, Proverbs 13:11, fraud, Proverbs 20:23, swindle, 1 Corinthians 6:8, gambling, Psalm 62:10, Proverbs 28:19 and 20, Luke 12:15, 1 Timothy 6:9, and Hebrews 13:5. So lots of scriptures that tell us that we shouldn't use them for gambling, cheating, or anything mysticism. However, remember, anything is what you make of it. If you begin to use cards for gambling, cheating, mysticism, then it's sin. If you use the cards for pure entertainment and there's no gambling involved, no cheating involved, and no mysticism involved, then obviously it is just that. It's entertainment, just like any board game could be or any other game might be. Got to be careful about over-analyzing symbolism. We could say that Mickey Mouse and Ronald McDonald are symbols of materialism. Yeah, in some ways they are, in some ways they're not. They could just be fun and food. So be careful about over-analyzing and over-condemning things. At the same time, if you begin to use cards for fortune-telling or mysticism or horoscoping or divination of any kind, then you've gone into the area of sin that the scriptures condemn. My only complaint about cards is Lois always beats me, and that's a sin, that her husband would have to be beat by his wife in card games. So that's your thought for the day. God bless you and have a great day.